Hello and welcome to What Makes a Good Exhibit. This is a presentation from the Raupp Museum in Buffalo Grove. My name is Debbie Fondre. I'm the one in charge of the museum and I'll be talking to you today. Have you ever been to a museum? Was there an exhibit you liked? Maybe something about sharks? Or maybe you like airplanes? Or maybe you like dinosaurs? Even though museums can be very different, they all have exhibits. No matter what the subject is, there are certain things that help make a good exhibit. Let's look at some examples. Good exhibits have certain things in common, whether it's a clothing exhibit, like in the one picture, or something about technology, like in the other picture. Let's see what they have in common. First of all, there will be large signs that let you know what the exhibit is about. You shouldn't have to guess what it's about. The signs should help you figure it out. Second, smaller signs with more details so that you can really learn some interesting facts. Third, cool things to look at and small signs to explain why the cool things are important. That's what the museums are best at, is having interesting things to look at. That's what makes exhibits really cool. Finally, fun colors, right? You want a museum exhibit to look exciting. Okay, but how can that help me? The same things that make a good museum exhibit can also help you make a good exhibit for school. You will have many chances to make exhibits for school. It might be a science fair exhibit about a project you've done. It might be a history exhibit. There might be something you do about countries or about Lego robots, all sorts of things. Also, you know what? A computer presentation that you make for your teacher counts as an exhibit too. An exhibit can be completely on the computer. What do exhibits really do? Exhibits help you share information. If you have done lots of work and research, you don't want it to go to waste. Instead, you want to be able to share your work in a way that other people can understand. A good exhibit can help do that. So let's get started. Okay, font first. Signs only work if people can read them. So let's use the sign on the right-hand side, my favorite lunch, as an example. First of all, no more than 3 fonts in a sign. Probably not even that many. Some fonts are too fancy. You can see here, it's a pretty looking font, but it makes it very hard to read the sign. Also, too many fonts gets confusing. If you use every font you can, people's eyes get tired and confused instead of learning what you want them to learn. Next, color is cool. Some colors work to make words stand out and they look really great, but you have to be careful. Some color combinations are hard to read. This one doesn't look good, does it? And too many colors can be confusing. You should probably avoid rainbow font, even if it might look neat. It's not easy for people to read. Now, size, the size of the font. Size matters. Some fonts are too big. You can't fit everything you need into the space that you need to fit it in. Some fonts are too small. They make it hard to read, and then it also doesn't look like you've done enough work. So picking 1 or 2 fonts for your sign and getting them the right size is an important thing when you're making an exhibit. Time matters too. If you spend too much time on fonts, will that take away from the rest of your project? There we go. There's a sign that uses fonts, but not too much, and it's not too hard to read. Bold moves, empty spaces. Boldface type gives your reader a clue about what's important. If you look at that sign, you can't really tell what's important, can you? Or at least you can't tell without working at it. If you add the boldface type, suddenly it's a little bit easier to read. You know what the important part is, and then if there's another important part, that's bold too. It's still not great, is it? Look at this one. It's exactly the same amount of words and sentences, but it's a lot easier to read, isn't it? And you know what's important. That's because along with boldface type, that sign uses spacing. Spacing helps the reader know when you are switching from one idea to the next idea. So look at the difference between the sign on the left, the sign in the middle, and the sign on the right. They all have the same amount of words, but one sign is much easier to read. Okay, location and organization. If you don't know where to look first, you might not look at all. People start understanding your exhibit before they read the first word. Let's look at some examples. That sign you see there, you can't read it, can you? It's in Latin. So even though you don't speak Latin, can you still understand the sign? I bet you can. You could show me where the title is, right? And the main body of information? What do you think those squares are on the right-hand side? Maybe a picture or a map? Something about the author? Can you point to where the fun facts probably are? What about the conclusion? Think about that. You can't even speak the language that the sign is written in, but you still know what information belongs where. Location and organization of information are really important. Let's look at the same information organized a different way. So same size sign, all the same shapes, but they're organized differently. Is it easier or harder to understand the second sign? Organization is really, really important. Now, cool stuff helps too. Everyone likes hands-on activities. Everyone likes extra things to look at. You might let people vote using Post-its. You might give people a flip-up quiz so they can actually have fun answering questions. Check out this exhibit. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got flip-up questions, it's got a model, it's got a matching game with coins, and it's got extra pictures in that folder in the front for people to look at. You can add all sorts of extra things to your exhibit once you get the important information out there first. Remember, a good exhibit is nice to look at, easy to understand, and contains good research. It is your chance to show people something new or convince them of something important. Good luck! That's the end. If you have questions, email us. And thank you for paying attention. Have a very good rest of the day.